This is a very important occasion for both the ministries, and we're glad we were finally able to do this today. As I said, in 2017, nearly 2 years ago, we had this Tambuas repatriated from New Zealand to us in Fiji, and the Prime Minister, Honourable Prime Minister, accepted it on behalf of the Fijian government. Today we have handed over to the Ministry of iTaukei Affairs, the home, like I said, where it belongs. So it can be effectively used, put to use for a good cause. And we were able to officiate this together and partner together. My colleague and my friend, Permanent Secretary for iTaukei Affairs and Rural Maritime, Affairs Mr Bainimarama. And so this gives us an opportunity to see an opportunity go well, the recirculation of the cultural totems for traditional purposes. However, like I said, we retained 10 for our ministry's usage. I'd like to highlight a few important things in terms of business and how business operates around Tabua, because both P.S. Bainimarama and I have discussed this over the last few weeks, and the awareness and the important significance that awareness plays. I'd like to mention here and stress the fact that Fiji is a party to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. It's called CITES. And being a party to CITES, which expects us to regulate the trade, one of the species that we have to protect is the sperm whales, of which Tabua is a part of, as we all know. Sperm whales, amongst the other marine mammals, are well protected under CITES, and the Endangered Protected Species Act of Fiji 2002 is the national law that helps us Fijians to comply with these international requirements, and therefore it regulates the trade amongst the other commodities under this convention. And we cooperate closely and partner with the Ministry of iTaukei Affairs, in which any trade or any exchange of Tabua would require primarily the approval of the Permanent Secretary for iTaukei Affairs, and is regulated under Section 11 of the Customs Regulation 1986 Act under Schedule 7. So under our Fijian laws, anyone wishing to export or import Tabua to Fiji will need to acquire two documents. One is an approval letter by the Permanent Secretary of iTaukei Affairs, and two, a pre-CITES permit from the Department of Environment. And we request in earnest to public who would like to take Tabua overseas to give sufficient time, especially for the planned trips, so they're able to go through these two procedures in proper and then bring it to us for being able to proceed with the permit process. When timelines are missed and when they are not able to have the right paperwork and passengers take it across to other countries, they're stopped at the border. And the 136 Tabua, the 146 Tabua that we have, that you saw being handed over today, are sad products of people who took or attempted to take without proper paperwork. So our advice is to stop that kind of Tabua being confiscated at the airports, is to please work closely with the Ministry of iTaukei Affairs and with the Ministry of Environment. Give us sufficient notice. I have passengers who travel by the 9 p.m. Los Angeles flight, coming and knocking at doors at 10 a.m. in the morning, and perhaps 9 a.m. at Ministry of iTaukei Affairs. So, and then 1 hour later they come and knock our doors. It puts us a lot of pressure. Look, we do understand when there is a funeral, unexpected emergencies, we do understand, and I have had staff open offices on a Sunday or a Saturday just only to accommodate this passage of the permits. But those who have planned trips I really request you that you plan because Tabua is an important cultural totem, and then being that importance, if it's that significant, you also plan around the significance and be able to take it safely and, of course, present it to the people who are waiting in another country. So we request for 5 working days time frame for CITES permit processing to endure compliance to both the national laws and Fiji's obligation to the CITES. And so if you could please plan ahead of your travel schedules, it would help avoid disappointment both in Fiji as well as overseas. Another important thing I'd like to mention, which I would like to have the attention of the public, is the Australian CITES Management Authority has notified all parties under the CITES Convention that Australia will not be able to permit the import of Tabua through its borders if it is non-compliant. As a result, a number of Tabuas have now been withheld at their borders due to authenticity issues. According to the CITES website, Australia implements stricter domestic measures that treat all whales and dolphins as though they were listed on Appendix 1, which is a restricted listing of species under CITES. So under the Australian legislation, imports and exports of Appendix 1 species can only be allowed if A was obtained prior to the first listing of species on CITES, that is, before the convention was instituted in 1979, it has to be proved. Secondly, if it is traded as a part of a non-commercial exchange of scientific specimens between 2 registered organizations or institutions. C, if it is traded for research purposes. D is if it's traded for education purposes. E is if it's traded for exhibition purposes. F is for if it's traded for cooperative conservation program. So I'm just kind of, if people would have any doubts, they're more than welcome to call the Department of Environment to convey. All I would like to also stress here is that this is the national law and this is also Fiji's obligation internationally. If we are calling ourselves environmentally people who protect environment, and with our Prime Minister being the COP23 president, we stress importance on how the world looks at us protecting and conserving species. And so this is just one way the world expects us to comply as well. And so we are, as a government, quite aware of the repercussions and is working closely with the Australian CITES Management Authority to establish a national and international process of verifying the authenticity and originality of Tabua being traded. We just now heard the Permanent Secretary of iTaukei Affairs mention that they will be including an authenticity machine that will be able to establish. And to address this issue, the public is hereby advised that in the process of acquiring approval from the Permanent Secretary of iTaukei Affairs, the applicant should formally declare that the origin of the Tabua was acquired pre-CITES Convention. So before the CITES Convention was established, they should come and declare that it was procured, or this Tabua belongs to the pre-CITES Convention era. The government is also aware of illegal sales and circulation of fake Tabuas. The PS talked about it. And the EPS Act requires that anyone who wishes to trade for commercial purposes would have to register operations annually with the Fiji CITES Management Authority or the Ministry of Waterways and Environment. Anyone found selling illegally without being registered commits an offense under the EPS Act 2002. In case of an individual who he breaches this requirement or this law, will be fined up to 20,000 or imprisonment for 4 years, and in the case of any company or a body of people, the fine is 100,000. This is as per the EPS Act. So should members of the public wish to further clarify or have any concerns or would like to report illegal businesses, they're advised to contact the Department of Environment on the following email: info number 6, all one word, at govnet.gov.fj. And last, in closing, I'd like to thank the PS of Ministry of iTaukei Affairs and the team for partnering with the Department of Environment in being able to make this a reality today. And we would love to work together, especially in raising awareness among the Fijian communities, the various Fijian communities, in all languages. So there are plans of working together and campaigning together in terms of providing awareness to the communities. There are also plans that by the Department of Environment to work with other international governments and seek ways and means of repatriating other Tabua that could have been confiscated at their borders. So we are actively liaising with the various governments across the globe where Tabuas could be kept confiscated so we can return them back to its rightful home. Naka. Thank you.
Thank you. For the Ministry of iTaukei Affairs, at this juncture, I just want to thank the Permanent Secretary and for Environment and Waterways and his team for all the hard work they've done. And we know that this work has started 3 years previous to my coming in. The part that touched me today was a simple and short ceremony that showed how very valuable this traditional artifact is for us, the iTaukei people. On that note, I'd like to mention that when we process the Tabua permits here in iTaukei Affairs, it's not only iTaukei people taking Tabua across. It's gone across the whole strata of Fiji's demographic population. Fijians of Indian descent, Fijians of European descent, Fijians of Chinese descent, and the part Europeans. Everyone is taking out Tabua. So we needed to take a closer look, and that's why I thank the PS Environment, because they have the safe guarding measures that we meet the requirements of other governments when we take Tabua across. As you all know, the Tabua that we have with us that was written this afternoon was all from New Zealand. Yes. And I thank the PS for Environment because he's mentioning that they're going to go across all the governments. We haven't got all the Tabua that's gone across illegally to Australia or America. We don't know how many have gone across. We have some that were stuck at the border control here. We have no information on that too. That's coming to us. But all in all, the important thing for the Ministry of iTaukei is the return of the artifacts. That's the important thing about it. The important thing, because we hold so much traditional emotion on this artifact, the Tabua. And you would have witnessed the simple and short ceremony this afternoon. It really touched me because it just brought down to that level, the level that we were at when we see this Tabua. Because we use it for on a host of many traditional occasions, weddings, funerals, giving away of brides, asking for the hand of a bride, and other traditional occasions that we use Tabua for. And hopefully it's going to add to the stores of the Tabua that we keep. And as PS Environment has mentioned, we're working together with fisheries. They're going to put in that mechanism to isolate the fake from the real ones. And also we'll probably working with development unit here. They're going to work out the pricing on the size of the Tabua. The thing that I'm worried about is because the media has gotten note of this, that tomorrow everybody will be banging on this door and asking to buy a Tabua. But that's a long process. As I've said, we've come through 3 years. We really need to perfect the process, and when we start the sale or the purchasing, we need to have all these processes in place. But thank you again I thank you for covering the handover this afternoon. For me, it was a very moving occasion. It was short and simple, and it showed the attachment that we have for this traditional artifact.